Welcome back, everybody. Listen, as we are constantly striving to better our community, it's disturbing to learn that domestic violence has increased in Western New York. So to help combat this, a panel discussion will be held on February 8th at the Ephesus Ministries on Durham Street. So here with more about that is Pastor Keith Colvin, who's president and CEO of Soaring Eagles. Welcome, Pastor. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
And thank you for taking the initiative to address this and bring other agencies together to find so that we can learn more about it.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Soaring Eagles.
Well, very briefly, Soaring Eagles, Inc. is a consulting firm established here in Western New York. We look to help primarily nonprofit organizations, and we will do that along the lines of grief support, crisis intervention, and we'll use the general term spiritual guidance.
You and other agencies will be coming to the table, though, to this panel discussion, so you can address a lot of different parts of domestic violence.
Yes. Before I go on, we mentioned Soaring Eagles, Inc. We do work. I would be remiss in not mentioning that we do have work that we do with a group in Lewiston, New York. It is Our Lady of Peace Nursing Care Resident Center, and they are a wonderful group. I think it's the quintessential nursing care resident center here in Western New York.
Well, that's nice to know.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the many types of abuse and how to recognize signs so that we can see this coming and be proactive about it.
Absolutely. We speak of domestic violence and we hear so much about it. Our goal is to bring awareness to it, and you might say, why? We refer to it as the silent killer. Because so many people have been brought to a place where they're silenced, they don't feel that they can speak up about it. Well, we want to motivate people. We want to bring them to a point where they understand it's important for them to speak up, to have the courage to do so. If we can bring them to that point, I promise it'll help others and they will begin the process of healing. Domestic violence, we see it in the form of rape, molestation, child abuse, and it's very, very difficult because the best way for me to bring it to your attention is to describe a situation, a story where I served as a youth pastor in Tulsa, Oklahoma. One day I was setting up for a program later that evening, and I had a storyboard that I needed to put up, and I was in my office working. A young lady had been dropped off by a group that she had recently come to live with, a family, and they dropped her off early because they had another event. There I was setting up, and I find myself trying to put up a very large storyboard. Needed some assistance. I called out to this young lady who was waiting in the auditorium, and I was a little perturbed because I was calling to her. I actually raised my voice. I'll say, Betty.
Yeah.
Betty, come in here and help me. And there was no response.
Nothing.
Finally, I had to put the board down, go out to the auditorium. Wanting to chastise her, I was moved as I stood back and realized she was quivering. She was shaking. It is something that I will never forget. And as I looked at her, it dawned on me that she had suffered abuse of some kind, and to be called into a room by a man was something she was not comfortable with. I said to her, I understand that you're getting ready for the service, you just relax. I immediately called some young ladies who work with us in our ministry and had them come and talk to her. She was given an opportunity to speak up. We like to say, speak up and live. This young lady shared her story with the counselors. She was able to get the help she needed and ultimately delivered and brought to a place where she could help other people.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing how often we think everybody knows about domestic violence. But the truth is it's a silent killer because people feel they have no recourse.
Right.
And they won't speak up. This gives them an opportunity to come.
It also can be a generational thing.
Exactly.
So
we don't put
an
end.
Right.
Right. We don't put an end to that vicious cycle.
Well, Pastor, thank you for telling us about this coming up. Here's your information. Let's talk about it, an open discussion with panel speakers, lunch and a raffle, and the fundraiser luncheon also Saturday, February 8th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Ephesus Community Center at 80 Durham Avenue in Buffalo. Everyone is invited to participate so we can do something about domestic violence here in Western New York.